It's time to talk about political stance and its analysis. Political stance has received much attention recently as it is an important way to convey our evaluation about certain events. Maybe political events, political talks, speeches, point of views, ideologies. So stance is very important. This is an individual reaction or evaluation to something. According to a very popular person who has worked in this field, Dubu, stance is a social act. It's not only language, rather it's a social act, something we do through communication when we evaluate or align ourselves with objects or some external factors, maybe human beings. Such evaluations may reflect a host of issues from gender through formality to politeness. This can be stancing, can be conveyed about multiple topics and can be conveyed through multiple ways also. Political stance is arguably an evaluation. So this is a debatable point, but when we just assume it's an evaluation, this may be the way that speakers could or implicitly convey various kinds of subjective opinion in discourse, their own opinions. In so doing, they also get some kind of inter subjective harmony or consensus uh, of values with respect to what is presented. And these are the most significant elements of stance. People not in simple words, we might say that while people give their stance, they perform two actions, especially in political discourse. Not only they convey their own evaluation of a certain thing, object, view of reality, ideology, a figure, or about a debate, or about any issue at hand. Not only they give evaluation, but they also seek some kind of consensus from the people they're talking to. So intersubjective consensus is also gained through stance. A stance said in isolation, a stance said without any desire for the approval, probably would not be a reasonable thing to imagine in the real world. Evaluation and modality are important ways to convey our stances. These two elements of stance, for example, epistemic and affective, correspond to the traditional model uses, which are epistemic and deantic. So, stances can be epistemic based on knowledge, uh, confirming or rejecting certain information, views about the person who's speaking it, or what is he speaking. And then affective, they can be emotional responses to certain things. For example, raising a national slogan during a public speech may not be something you need to confirm epistemically, but this would definitely generate some affective response. And these are usually uh, analyzed through some elements of the grammatical concept modality, and its two kinds, epistemic and deantic. The former refers to the evaluation of the propositional content, reflecting the speaker's commitment to the truth, that how good, how fine, how true, how just is what he's trying to convey. Especially, how truthful is it? The claim a political speaker is making in his speech, how far is it true? So that's a simple thing we might gauge in epistemic modality. And therefore, it may be argued that styming for epistemic control may serve in managing how beliefs and ideologies are spread discursively. So, how true those claims are, how near or far they are from reality on the ground, that might help us know that what kind of strategies are employed by the people, by the political demagogues or leaders to convey their certain uh, ideologies or viewpoints, and how do they legitimize their control over power. Uh, or we can see that it influences how, via critical discourse, the reality is represented. Deantic modality, on the other side, is linked to normativity, which is understood as a way of de-emphasizing the speaker's authority. The interaction dimension can be understood as the one explaining the relationship between a speaker and audience. Deantic modality help us to understand the relationship between speaker and uh, the listener, the strength of the evidence being provided in a certain kind of discourse, political discourse, and the angles which are being given, and in what kind of pushing manner or normal manner they are being conveyed. Well, deantic powers are very important in such spheres. This is a direct consequence of the human ability to impose functions on others and regulate what others do. When a political leader might be arguing with their listeners to a large rally, you must fight for the truth. You must fight for your own growth. You must fight for the progress of this country. This is what is urging them to do a certain action. And that certain action might be performed while aligning with the person who is speaking all this. So this is probably is the way how people influence others' thoughts or regulate their point of views. The analysis of deantic modality therefore becomes particularly important for the study of political discourse, as it is through that intersubjective consensus may be achieved. This is so the deantic modality actually helps us to understand how certain emotional atmosphere is generated through political discourses, and how people are compelled to follow certain point of views. And this is also important to know how intersubjective consensus has been achieved, how people has been convinced about a certain point of view, maybe because of affective factors, maybe because of some reference to reality, maybe because of anything. But this definitely help us how the consensus between the speaker and the listener has been achieved. When the required political actions are based on a group of shared beliefs between speaker and the audience, the social rightness of those actions is legitimized. So when a speaker in a political speech is good enough to relate his perceptions with those of the public standing in front of him or listening to him on televisions, he's probably has been able to create some kind of legitimacy for whatever he or she is speaking. An effect of in the end, I would like to share that very important aspect or effect of political discourse should be manifested in public or people's reactions. So, political discourse analysts should look into those reactions. They should not gauge those reactions from a distance by looking what government did. Sometimes governments or powerful people do actions even without a very clear legitimacy. So we cannot determine that they were able to create that possibly influential impact on the public they're talking to, and then they went for the action. They might do it without it. We can see so many examples of such actions in the recent history. So the actual impact of political discourse on public or on audience should be judged by the reactions, and in order to know their reactions, critical discourse analysts should reach the audience also, maybe the direct or indirect audience. So people should know people's candid and clear views about a certain political discourse before winding up or concluding certain political discourse analysis of any genre of political discourse. Unfortunately, this has been a weak link. This has been a weak area in the overall growth of critical discourse analysis so far. But the good thing about it is that recently such criticism has come to surface very strongly, and now both the practical researchers and the theorists of critical discourse analysts have started focusing on these aspects of critical discourse analysis in future.